Hey guys, it's Tony Thompson. Welcome back to another episode of Chasing Excellence. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Excellence. I'm Tony Thompson, your host. I'm excited to have with me today David Kakish, who's the broker owner of Anchor Home Loans down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. David, first of all, man, thanks a lot for taking time out to join me on Chasing Excellence.
Hi, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, early we were talking a little bit behind the scenes and getting to know each other a little bit more, man. I love your story. So we're going to just jump right into it because I want to make sure we have time to talk about your journey, your why, and most importantly, really the difference that you're making and how you look at really impacting and growing your business. So first of all, Anchor Home Loans, Gulf Shores, Alabama. How'd you come up with the name?
Yeah. I'm not a broker owner. I'm a branch manager. My brokerage is C2 Financial out of San Diego. But they did allow me to do a DBA. Anchor Home Loans. Anchor is tied to my faith. Christ is my anchor. And then I also live near the water. So, it was apropos. So it's been 3.5 years now. And we're just trying to serve as many people as we can, as best as we can. And hopefully make a little money while doing it.
Great. And you just mentioned 3.5 years, what most people don't know, and I want to share with them. You entered into the business in 2022 and really got started 2023 as your first full year. So, I like to say that we all have a story of how we got into the mortgage industry. David, what's your story?
My story is my parents were both immigrants from the Middle East. We didn't grow up with much. Grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. The stereotype is true. Arabs are good at sales, and the other stereotype is true. Immigrants typically have a stronger work ethic. So I watched my parents grind, and I kind of learned that grind from them. So always worked. I mean, they made me work at 15. I was 15 years old, got a job from 6 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday in this creepy house upstairs where we would cold call landlines to book appointments to sell windows, doors, and vinyl siding. And I would just sit there and dial. And we had scripts. They trained us to do it. And it was whoever books the most appointments tonight gets $20. I was like, I'm going to be rich, and then the scripts didn't work. And people wanted to hang up right away. I mean, you're calling them at dinner time on their landline. And so I started to learn to kind of improvise and pivot. So I used that sales gig as an opportunity to kind of learn, no is just an opportunity to get to yes. No fear of failure. You just got to get there. It doesn't hurt you. You got to learn to mirror and pivot. And then I did corporate sales at 20. And did pretty well there, but then felt the call to ministry. And as I told Tony, I thought we were recording. He was just trying to get to know me. I gave him all my good stuff. I'm kidding. I got into ministry, and I joked that it's called the ministry, not the ministry. We were broke. But that's okay because my treasure is in heaven, and we served for 17 years. I have 4 kids, and it was hard, but felt my time was coming to an end. I didn't need to make a decision to jump into another career immediately, so we took our time to think about it. And I'm like, hey, we've had to move around a lot. I'm good at sales. I want to sell something that people need. They need housing. I don't want to be a real estate agent. I'm good with numbers. I understand how the mortgage thing works. Let me get this mortgage license. I'll just do it on the side until I figure out what it is we want to do next. The problem is, as my wife likes to remind me, I have a touch of the tism. I don't know how to dabble into anything. Either it grabs my interest or it doesn't. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do loans. Well, how does a loan work? And what about this? And guidelines, I will tell you this, Fannie and Freddie guidelines are a lot easier to understand than translating Greek and Hebrew every week for my sermons. And so I just started studying guidelines and asking questions and studying what loan officers are doing and being able to identify different business models and different techniques and what's mine. I am a tinkerer, and I study the data. If you do any sort of searching on me, you'll find clips of me talking about this. It's kind of what I'm known for, because I guess nobody else does this. But I knew I needed to grow a business. I couldn't originate in the state I lived in because the brokerage I joined was not licensed in that state. And so I'm like, hey, I need to get realtors. And how do I meet realtors in other states? I got to call them. Oh, I don't know what to say. And so I built a hit list. I went to, like, at the time, like MMI or Redder or something, and built a hit list of agents in states I was not licensed in. Let me just tell you, Wisconsin and Wyoming. Because I'm like, I don't want to shoot bullets in a market I'm going to try to be in and come across as an idiot. I don't know what I don't know. And I just sit there and call them one after the other. And I would be like, okay, I tried to joke at first. That didn't work. I tried to be serious at first. That didn't work. And I'm taking notes and compiling data. And then every once in a while, I'd keep them on the phone long enough, and they would say, well, what DPA programs do you offer? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'd hang up, and I would be like, what is a DPA? You know? And then I could keep them on long enough, and I would say, what's something you really enjoy and appreciate about the current mortgage person you're working with? What's something they do that just makes you so happy? And I would take notes of that. I'm like, what's something they do that you wish they would do differently? And I would take notes of that. And then I really dialed it in until I was like, all right, I'm ready. And I started cold calling realtors and markets I was in, and was able to kind of fake it till I make it. And the first loan I got, I'm like, it worked. It was interesting. But then I'm like, okay, I didn't know to explain that loan estimate. And so then I sent it out, and the client calls me with questions, and I didn't know what a tax service fee was. I didn't know what, lender's title was. And so I started researching every fee and making. And so then I'm like, okay, how can I explain this to them? Do I put it in an email? That's too much. And so I started making videos for every loan estimate I sent out, just for them. Like, hey, let me explain every one of these fees. And people liked that. And I realized I got less phone calls afterwards, which I'm like, hey, that allows me to scale. So just constantly tinkering, getting the data. And so we've been doing this for 3.5 years. God's been really kind. I will say this, this quote has been said so many different ways. Like, everybody loves the view. No one loves the climb. It's true. I mean, at the end of the day, I do talks like this, Tony. You've shared things, I'm sure, with people over the time, and we think it's an information problem. It's not. If you're not where you want to be right now, there's two things I would tell you. You're either small for a season or you're small for a reason, And I don't know which one that is for you, but you got to figure that out. I think at the end of the day, most people know exactly what they need to do to scale their business. No one's surprised to go to the doctor and hear they have high cholesterol. No one's surprised at what they need to do to fix that. It's not a knowledge problem. It's a desire, drive, discipline, sacrifice problem. And so, the great Jonathan Edwards used to say, you will always do what you most want to do. You will always do what you most want to do. And you will say, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, if you really wanted to, you'd figure it out, I don't know if that's a good answer, but that's my answer nonetheless.
Love that. I love that. Let me ask you a question, Dave. We were talking earlier, man, and chopping it up about the state of the industry, the future of the industry. What do you see as our biggest challenge? What do you see as the biggest challenge as a broker out there in the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, I am going to say, and some may disagree with me, and I'm not a dystopian future kind of guy, but AI is real. And I'll hear people say, AI is not going to replace you, but a loan officer that uses AI will replace you. You know what? That's partially true. I mean, we use a lot of AI to streamline the back end of the process. I would say the biggest mistake you can make in AI is eliminating the humanness of it. You should use AI to accentuate the humanness of it. AI is at present the great equalizer. You may not have access to a brand strategist, a graphic designer, a video editor. You may not have access to those things. You may not be able to afford those things. Well, with AI, you can for $20 a month if you know how to train it right and write good prompts. Right now, it's the great equalizer. But a post came out recently that we've actually been training AI for the last 15 years for free. Those reCAPTCHA tests, remember, it had like squiggly words and numbers, and you had to type it in to prove you weren't a robot. Well, we were training OCR for AI to be able to read documents. And then they changed it to pictures, identify the motorcycles, the cars, the crosswalks, the traffic lights. We were training AI to identify visually. Then it was reCAPTCHA 3, tracking your mouse. All of these things were owned by Google and was all free man hours we put in to train their AI to launch Waymo, the driverless car system. How does it know to read the signs, even in poor lighting? Because we did it. How does it know to find crosswalks and people and motorcycles and roads and which one's a bus? We trained it for free. And so right now, I believe AI is the great equalizer. But no, I do think that we are in an industry that is very easy to automate. And if you think you can't be replaced, you are sadly mistaken. Currently, I'm paying $1 a year for Origin, a financial AI analyst. You connect your bank accounts, your trade accounts, and everything, and it will come up with an itemized budget per line. It can track trends. What's my cash flow over this time? What if I want to do this and sell this house and do this? It will get me an answer faster than I can get my financial advisor to pick up the phone for $1 a year.
Yeah,
it's going to go to $100 a year. The commoditization of what we do and the attention to detail and accuracy that it will be able to kick back on calculations and different structures is going to outpace us immediately. Now, that can scare the junk out of you, but I would say it differently. If I told you you had 5 years left to live, Tony, would that change the way you live tomorrow?
Absolutely.
If I told you had 5 years left to earn some seriously good money, would that change the way you work tomorrow?
Absolutely.
And so I'm not scared of AI. I just see it as, hey, I have a 3 to 5 year clock before it is seriously commoditized and margins are seriously compressed.
Love that view.
I'm going to use it as a great equalizer and, God willing, serve as many people as I can and make as much money as I can. So even if our industry goes to zero, that ain't my problem. It ain't my worries.
Love that outlook. Let's keep it rolling here. Talk about motivation. You know, one of the things I didn't do is share a little bit about your journey. Again, you've been in the business you're really since 22, early 23 was your first full year. Consistently, you're somewhere around 50 million, 130, 40, 50 units a year in most instances. David, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay focused?
Motivated is easier for me to answer than focus. Motivated is, do you truly believe people are better off working with you than someone else? Like at the core of your being, do you believe that? If you do, and then that's not prideful, you know what I mean? And you don't have to sell. I don't have to sell someone that's drowning like, hey, let me give you 5 reasons why this life raft is going to be good for you. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, take this. You need this. And so that keeps me motivated. The opportunity to earn what we earn, golly, in some ways our job is so hard and stressful. There's no off button. You can't stop it. You don't know what's coming tomorrow. But in other ways, we're paid more than doctors. You don't even need a college degree. And so like, hey, the risk and reward thing can pay off if you're willing to do the work. And I have a lot of catch up to do financially with 4 kids and a wife. By God's grace, we stayed out of debt except for our house. But I want to set my kids up for success. That motivates me every day. I want to work from a place, God willing, where I don't need the money. And I feel like I work best when I don't. People can smell it when you need it. What we say, commission breath. But I think it's worse than commission breath. I think that our advice gets warped. That keeps me motivated to not be in a place of need, to serve people, to take care of my family. What keeps me focused is a sickness in my mind. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop wondering, could we have done that differently? How can I do that better? What could, it's a sickness. I'm addicted to figuring out the process and constantly, and I wish I could make that stop, to turn it off. I cannot, but I've talked to some of the top producers. They have that same sickness too. I will tell you the one thing though, I get asked to speak a lot of different places. I go to different conferences and I've got to meet some of the highest producers in the country. I am shocked constantly how few of them have actual systems and processes. It's just, monkey slamming loans through and going, you don't do this, you don't do that. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, what could you do if you actually thought through? You probably do it intentionally, do it on purpose. Every stroke is masterful. You could probably do a lot more. So some people think I do more than I do, but we've really tried to find a way to multiply effort.
Yeah.
Anything we
Well,
do should have 2 to 3 values.
one of the things I love, David, your success and your trajectory of success has been 10x more than the average originator. I mean, again, we're only talking 23, 24, 25, and you're pumping out numbers in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Granted, you're doing business everywhere, which is what you're supposed to do. What would you tell that guy, girl, the one thing that they need to do to focus on to try to just get to that one next level?
First, know your why.
Okay. All right. Like that. Know your why.
Know your why. And once you know your why, calculate, do I really want it? And Tony and I were talking before. I tell my kids all the time, every decision you make is always 2. If you really want it, what's that going to take? I sat on a panel in Tampa 2 days ago, and I just said, hey, no matter who you talk to, I'll tell you a quick story, and I'm not trying to poo-poo your industry, Tony. Coaches and consultants are real things, and I'm sure they're helpful for a lot of people. But I'll get some coaches and consultants in my DMs sometimes. And I remember a few months ago, it was like a Friday night at 8 o'clock. Hey, brother, how's business going? I said, man, thank God it's going really well. What are you happy about these days? What's going well? I told him my answer. What's causing you some heartburn these days? What do you feel like is your real holdback? And I told him that too. And he goes, I remember when we were there. Yeah, that's something I help my clients do, just to get away from the grind and the 9 to 5. And I help my clients want to make $1 million a year, working 20 hours a week. And I said, my brother, it is Friday night at 8 o'clock, and you are in my DMs trying to sell me on a coaching program. I don't believe you figured out how to get out of the grind. I think you're grinding higher than I am. I'm not selling agents right now. I'm trying to be with my family. And so there's just not an easy way. This industry is hard, but everything is hard. Doing 20 loans a month is hard. Doing 0 loans a month, I should say, is just as hard in different ways because you broke.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's hard.
Everything you do is going to be hard. You got to choose your hard. And does your hard help you accomplish your why? Are you willing to do what it takes to get to where you want to be? And I'll tell you, most just aren't. Most prefer to be frenetic rather than productive. They want to talk about which CRM should I use, and I'm going to do the research because I don't want to waste money. And I'm like, you just wasted 20 hours this week. How much did that cost you in commission ROI when you could have just pounded the phones and got yourself out there and got 3 more deals where it doesn't matter if that CRM's $100 a month cheaper. You made an extra $6,000 this month. That covers it for the next 6 years. Be intentional with your time. Think about what you're doing. Think through the process. What's the line from Jim Collins? Shoot bullets before you shoot cannonballs. I'll see people go from nothing to say, I'm going to do social media. I'm going to hire a social media planner. They're going to do content. I'm going to get a videography crew, and I'm going to do 20 videos this month. They don't know what their avatar is. They don't know what their content strategy really is. They don't know what's going to track with their avatar and in their market. And they shoot this big bullet. They throw $10,000 out the window. They post every day. They don't get engagement, and they go, that didn't work. And they move on to the next shiny trick. And I'm going, shoot bullets before you shoot cannonballs. And it's never been easier to do this.
I agree with, and I love, we had a little technical glitch there, so I wanted to make sure we're okay. I'm a firm believer that in this industry, everything is focused around data. And that's kind of what I try to help people look at, is changing their mindset on how do you use and leverage data, because that's really the key to knowing your decisions. Man, I have really, really enjoyed our time chopping it up here on Chasing Excellence. Before I let you go, I always like to talk about gratitude and thankfulness. David, what are you most grateful for today?
Man, my wife and I took a walk this morning, and it's not fun being broke. It's not fun being broke when you know what you're doing is important, but it sucks being broke. And we were broke for a really long time. You know what I mean? Where a flat tire is like what are we going to do? And a few months back, the dentist said my oldest 2 needed to go to see an orthodontist, and my wife called me from there, and she was kind of panicky. She said they both need braces. And man, I wasn't thrilled to pay for braces for 2 kids on a Tuesday when I wasn't expecting to. But I looked at her and I said, praise God that this doesn't ruin us. Do you know what I mean? And I would say I am grateful that oftentimes the things I'm complaining about today are answers to prayer requests I had 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm so stressed because I have 15 files this month. Like, are you serious? If I had a conversation with myself 10 years ago, like, let me tell you about my problems right now. They're like, you own a business? You're doing what? You know what I'm saying? Like, just take the opportunity to step back and go, man, the things I'm complaining about today are actually answers to prayers and blessings in disguise. So, I don't know. That would be my answer for you, Tony.
I always remind myself every morning there's somebody in this world that will love to have your problems. And so
That's
it's really
it.
important to always be a base and a bound and just remember there's always somebody in this world that will love to have your problems because their problems are not what they want right now. And so, David, first of all, man, congratulations on your success. I'm looking forward to having you back here to talk shop more, give you your perspectives in the months and weeks to come. And so, again, thank you for joining me. Guys, I'm Tony Thompson, your host for Chasing Excellence. Thank you for joining us on this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Chasing Excellence. Take care.
Whatever is necessary. Chasing excellence.